Welcome to Recap Central HQ.
Today I will show you a crime, thriller film from 2021, titled Midnight. Spoilers ahead. Watch out and take care. It's late at night when a young woman finally leaves her workplace after doing extra hours. A group of guys take the taxi she saw first, so now she's stuck walking home. As she takes the dark road, she's approached by a van, and its driver, Dushik, offers to take her home. The woman refuses, not wanting to get in a car with a stranger, but after walking a bit more, she hears some weird noises. She turns around to find the van door open and the sound of someone crying and asking for help coming from it. When she comes closer and takes a peek, however, she finds a bunch of clothes and the body of a dead man, because the one making the noises had been Dushik, who now grabs her and drags her inside to kill her before she can escape. Moments later, after having called 911 and changed into clean clothes, Dushik receives two police officers while pretending to be incredibly distressed. He points at the place where he left the bodies and pretends he found them there by accident, saying he saw a group of workers stab the woman. Some days later, Kim Kyung-mi is working at her usual desk in customer service. She's a deaf young woman, so she is in charge of taking the calls from other deaf and mute customers by talking to them using sign language through video calls. Just like regular customer service though, there are rude customers that call her names and give her the finger. After work, she goes to a company dinner even if she can't be part of the conversation. All the men at the table take advantage of her deafness to talk in a rude and inappropriate way about her, but they don't know she can read lips, so in return, she signs back a bunch of insults that they think are compliments. Afterward, she goes to pick up her deaf mother from her own work, a tailor's shop, saving her from almost getting run over by a bike thanks to the sound sensor on her car. Her mother is very happy because she's been paid well this month, and now the two of them can have that vacation at the beach they wanted. In another part of the city, Choi Seo-young is getting ready to go out, but her brother, security guard Jong-tak, has been very overprotective since their parents' death, so he argues with her over what clothes she's wearing and what time she's allowed to come home. She promises to be good, but later, she ignores her brother's texts while she's on her date and doesn't go home as early as she promised. Since she doesn't pick up her phone either, Jong-tak decides to go out and look for her. It's late at night when Dushik goes out to find another victim. He sees Kyung-mi leave her mother near an alarm post while she searches for a spot to park and chooses to go after her, but at that moment, Seo-young appears walking down the same street, so Dushik decides she shall do instead. He runs and quickly jumps on her, going unnoticed because Kyung-mi's mother is walking the other way and can't hear anything. After she's done with her, he moves to check with the mother, but his plans keep getting interrupted. First, Jong-tak stops by to ask the mother if he's seen his sister, leaving after getting a negative answer, and then Kyung-mi returns from the parking lot. On her way to meet her mother, she sees a white shoe suddenly coming out of a dark alley, and there's also someone calling out for help too even if she can't hear it. After a second shoe comes out, Kyung-mi decides to enter the alley and finds a crying, bleeding Seo-young asking for help. Before she can do anything, Dushik appears with an axe and jumps on Kyung-mi to kill her, but Seo-young pushes him off, giving Kyung-mi the chance to run. Kyung-mi returns to the street, and when she sees her mom, she chooses to run the opposite way to protect her. She goes back to the parking lot and hides among the cars as she makes her way to the back door, which has a very squeaky handle. As she begins opening it as carefully as she can, Dushik hears the noise and goes after her, but thankfully Kyung-mi opens the door just in time. The door is chained on the other side so she can't open it completely, but the gap is enough for a petite girl like her to go through and leave a bigger man like Dushik behind. Kyung-mi makes it to her car and calls her mom to tell her to wait for her by the alarm, but right after she hangs up, Dushik appears on the back seat with a knife in his hand. He makes her drive, but instead of taking him out of the building, she drives toward the wall, stopping right before they crash and using the opportunity to escape. Another running chase begins, and Kyung-mi manages to make it to his mom before Dushik can catch her. But because Kyung-mi presses the alarm button, Dushik can't come closer anymore, so while the women wait for the police, he returns to his van. After hiding Seo-young's body in it, he changes clothes and hairstyle to look like a normal businessman, then approaches the women with a carefree expression. Kyung-mi doesn't recognize him because the killer had been wearing a mask and a hat, so when this man says he's looking for his sister, Kyung-mi believes him. She's about to take him to the dark alley when the police arrive, but the officer finds the alley empty. Kyung-mi requests to see the security cameras, but the guard at the parking lot shows them they've been turned off by kids that hang there to smoke. The three of them are taken to the station so they can make a proper report. In the elevator, Dushik keeps looking at the weapons in his bag before glancing at the women, and this is noticed by Kyung-mi's mother, who thinks he doesn't look very sad anymore. To keep up his cover, he retrieves a black phone from his bag and tells them he's relieved to have received a text from his sister, which means the body wasn't hers. Moments later, Kyung-mi has finished giving her statement, but the officer can't do much without a body or a physical description of the killer. Dushik wants to help with that, but the cop scolds him for interrupting other people's statements, and the hobo that has been sleeping on a nearby couch takes the chance to insult him for it too. Seeing this as an opportunity, Dushik goes to the water cooler and while picking a cup, he insults the hobo in a low tone so the officer can't hear them. This enrages the man, who immediately jumps on Do-shik to hit him, and during the struggle, Do-shik drops a white phone on the floor that the mother picks up. The cop pulls the hobo away and takes him to another room, so Do-shik takes his phone back and goes to see Kyungmi's statement as an excuse to check her personal information. While he reads, the mother signs to Kyungmi that is suspicious for the man to have two different cell phones, and when he notices them talking to each other, he demands to know what it is about. Kyungmi only writes nothing for him, so Do-shik approaches the mother and starts going through the weapons in his bag, thinking of what to do next. At that moment, a cop appears with Jong-tak, who is trying to report his missing sister. The officer tells him to show the picture to the other three since the description matches Kyungmi's statement. Do-shik pretends he hasn't seen her before, but Kyungmi immediately recognizes her and gives him her statement to read. While she tries to give him more details, the cop leaves the room to take care of the hobo that tried to re-enter the place, so Do-shik takes that chance to tell the mother not to move or he'll kill Kyungmi. Then he shows her what is inside his bag as he takes a knife and moves towards her daughter, but the mother manages to make a loud noise that alerts the others. Jong-tak turns around just in time and stops the knife, so the two men begin fighting as the women go outside and call the cops over. Do-shik admits having hurt Seo-young, which enrages Jong-tak. He begins beating up Do-shik furiously and even grabs the knife to put it on his neck, demanding to know the location of his sister, but they are interrupted by the cops. Do-shik pretends to be a victim and because of the compromising position they're in, the officers believe him so they arrest Jong-tak instead. Do-shik gets to walk free, and the women stay with Jong-tak while the cops check the security cameras and see they were telling the truth. While Jong-tak goes back to the streets to search for his sister, the police take the women to their apartment, which has a bunch of lights that blink if they detect movement. While mother and daughter are having some tea, the lights warn them of someone at the door, which worries them because it's really late, but it turns out it's just the mother's coworker who's come to pick up some bags. The two elderly women leave together, leaving Kyungmi alone in the apartment, unaware that Do-shik has now arrived and broken the sensor outside the door so the light won't give out his location. His steps inside are detected though, so when Kyungmi leaves her room to investigate, Do-shik makes an alarm clock ring to make her think that's what triggered the lights. Afterward, once she is back in her room, he finishes turning off all the other sensors in the house while she texts Jong-tak, who had given her his card in case she needed anything. Do-shik grabs his axe and gets ready to strike, but at that moment, Kyungmi notices a toy on the dresser is activated yet the lights don't react to it, so she turns around just in time to dodge Do-shik's attack. She runs to another room and puts a dresser in front of the door before sending a text to Jong-tak to tell him the murderer is here. Then she texts her mom to tell her not to come back, but as the door stops shaking, she gets a text saying she's already there and found the door open. Thinking her mother is in danger, Kyungmi begins moving the dresser back, but as more texts from her mom asking for help arrive, she realizes they have perfect spelling when her mother usually doesn't type so well. It's then that she realizes Do-shik has her phone and she stops moving the dresser just in time for him to appear at the door gap. He tries to grab her hand, but Kyungmi manages to pull it back and lock the door on his face. This doesn't stop him for long however, Do-shik begins destroying the door with his axe to make his way inside. Not having another way out, Kyungmi jumps off the window, but Do-shik grabs her by hair as she falls. She struggles against the hold and manages to make him let go, causing her to fall safely on a pile of trash. Kyungmi begins running again and Do-shik goes after her. Soon Jong-tak finds them and joins the chase too. After running through dozens of blocks, Do-shik corners Kyungmi in a closed area, and he's about to attack when Jong-tak arrives. To stop him from hitting him, Do-shik puts his own knife against his neck and threatens to kill himself, which means Jong-tak would never know where his sister is. With Jong-tak frozen in place, Do-shik sends a text to his phone with Seo-young's location and makes him choose between the two girls. Jong-tak apologizes to Kyungmi and runs away in search of Seo-young at the address he was given, Kyungmi's house. Obviously, Do-shik lied and the place is empty, and Jong-tak only comes across the mother when she comes back. Meanwhile, Kyungmi tries to use a chair from the trash to defend herself, but Do-shik takes it from her and uses it to pin her to the ground. While he uses the phone to talk to Jong-tak and call him a bad person for having left her there, Kyungmi grabs some dirt and throws it at Do-shik's face to use the distraction to push him off her and start running again. When she reaches the street where his van is, he sees the door open and Seo-young coming out of it, asking for help with a knife in her hand. As the mother and Jong-tak reach the closed area and find it empty, the two girls hide in an alley, right behind a trash container. Kyungmi wants Seo-young to call 911, but she refuses because she can hear Do-shik nearby, who has discovered there is no body in the van, so Kyungmi decides on a plan. She writes on her phone a message to Seo-young, telling her to call her brother because he's nearby, before giving it to her and grabbing the knife in return. While Do-shik is turned around, she leaves the alley and hides, only coming out again when the murderer is about to find Seo-young. She makes a weird noise with her mouth and shakes a nearby metal shutter, and once he has Do-shik's attention, she puts the knife against her neck, threatening to kill herself and robbing him of the pleasure. Do-shik goes after her, and after pressing the alarm on the pole once more, Kyungmi begins running, restarting the chase around town while Seo-young calls her brother to ask for help. He and the mother go to rescue her with an ambulance, and Seo-young lets them know the direction Kyungmi has run toward to save her. This time, Kyungmi runs towards downtown, hoping to have more people around will make it harder to be caught. She crosses the busy street with lots of difficulty since she can't hear the cars, but after a few dangerous moments, she manages to reach the other side and go into a commercial area. She tries asking people for help, but since she can't talk, they ignore her. Dushik is coming closer, so she has no other choice but to take out the knife to defend herself, making everyone step back in a circle around them. A man in the crowd tries to call the police, but Dushik stops him by saying that's her sister who has issues and the cops would scare her into hurting herself. Kyungmi uses this moment as a distraction to run away. A moment later, however, the police find her and take her back to Dushik. Believing the sister's story, they also give the knife back to him. Once they're gone, Kyungmi starts crying, and with the few sounds she manages to make, she begs her not to kill him because she still has so much left to do. Not wanting to do this in front of people, Dushik takes her to a nearby ally, and after telling her she almost convinced her but it wasn't enough, he gets ready to stab her. Thankfully, Jong-tak arrives then and stops him just in time. The two men begin fighting, and Jong-tak manages to grab Dushik with a hold around his neck to choke him. He lets go once he passes out and goes to check on Kyungmi, letting her know that Seo-young is safe at the hospital and her mom is nearby. He's suddenly interrupted by Dushik, who only pretended to pass out and is now hitting Jong-tak with empty bottles and various other pieces of trash. Kyungmi gets him to stop by picking up the knife, so Dushik decides to leave the alley and go after the mother instead. He finds her in the middle of the commercial area and approaches her, asking her to follow him into a dark alley, but at that moment Kyungmi sees them and comes after him with her knife in hand. Dushik makes fun of her because she's failed to stab him and only managed to hurt his hand instead. However, that's part of the plan. She's put the knife in his hands and stabbed herself, making it look as if it was him. The crowd steps back, effectively believing the trick and not listening to him when he says it wasn't him. The police arrive then and shoot at the air as a warning, but Dushik won't stop moving, so they shoot him on the body a couple of times. This is still not enough, especially because Kyungmi provokes Dushik by giving him the finger, but when Dushik is about to try again, Seo-young arrives and tackles him to the ground where he finally dies. Many days later, Kyungmi and her mother go to the beach to have the vacation they dreamed of. Seo-young and Jong-tak join them as well, and after showing them how they've been learning some sign language, the four of them take a picture together.
If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, subscribe to the channel Recap Central HQ, and click the bell icon to stay updated with our latest content. Thank you for your support and encouragement.